Yes, so yeah, thanks for having me over, Caesar, talking about Vigee and what impact we're planning to make. So I'll highlight a few aspects, and we'll also see a little bit of Vigee and what it actually is. So Vigee, where did the name come from? Well, Vigee essentially was a famous French artist. She was discovered during the French Revolution by Marie Antoinette and painted all over the world, so in quite turbulent times. Not just that, it was also very competitive times. There were lots of artists out there which were of very high quality. Some unfortunately have also disappeared during those times. But we thought, the name matches the scenario which we all witnessed with COVID and essentially with the pandemic which happened, which affected lots of artists, personal friends of mine, musicians, and also painters who couldn't access their usual place to go, galleries and meeting points, but also concerts, which was very tough for musicians. So essentially the whole world has changed. There was an impact. And also lots of artists had looked at, just like companies, going from physical to digital. So it essentially, the whole pandemic also accelerated the digital transformation, the global digital transformation, and made companies moving much quicker also to collaboration platforms like Teams, like Zoom, or some which were still on Skype or other platforms. So a change was required also in thinking and also in actually generating revenue as an artist, since you couldn't access galleries anymore or museums, venues, and so on. So you had to start going digital, start going online and looking at online business possibilities. So one of them which came up, which was all over the news at the time, was Mike Winkelmann, an artist out of New York, also known as Beeple, who sold his digital artwork. I think it was a combination of 5,000 pieces of art or stages, steps, all in one NFT, which was sold for, I think it was $68 million. Now, not every piece of art was sold for that kind of money. I would probably call it a lucky shot, since there are much more of those pieces of art out there. Now, NFTs, non-fungible tokens, what does that mean? They have a unique property. They represent a unique, you have to think of it, a unique address or a unique entry in an immutable environment, an unchangeable environment, also called a blockchain. So this is data which is written there, which is connected to something. So this digital signature, like a house number, belongs to a person. A person lives at that house number. But in this case of it being a house number, it's a digital entry on a blockchain, and it's referencing not to a person, but to a piece of art, a digital piece of art. Now, some people will say, well, this is total nonsense. What is digital art? Well, digital art, think of it like you have an original painting being the physical one. Let's take a Picasso or a Salvador Dali or Rubens and so on of artists. I couldn't probably afford the physical piece of art, but I could afford a lithography or a serigraphy, depending on the process/procedure of copying. It's essentially like a copy, a limited copy. So that's what digital art became also. There are, of course, also digital originals. So they're just plain digital artists who never touched the physical world. But it allowed also physical artists moving digital, but the digital artists were already there. So NFT marketplaces, it's almost like a dirty word these days, but the actual NFTs is just what lives on a blockchain, which is connected to a piece of art. So you can sell and trade your digital artwork on a platform. Nowadays, all those pieces of art, they can be sold as one, they can be sold as a fraction. There is a bank in Switzerland where I live. They sold a Picasso in fractions, which means that the original artwork was worth $60 million or 60 million euros. Nowadays, it's almost all the same. Was split into pieces to be more accessible to the market. So you could buy actually 1% of that painting, and 1% would be essentially yours. So if that painting picks up in value, it's like an investment, like a share. You would earn some more money, you would make some profits. There are also limited editions, so limited digital pieces of art. Some of them are exclusive collections of an artist which are being released. Some collect them, just like stickers which people used to collect, or collectible cards, tradable cards like we used to back in our times or our generations. Now, the challenges which you have if you trade them on those marketplaces, there are some high fees which can occur. And also, all those platforms are focusing on a for-profit model and not really giving back. So there's no real contribution to community, looking at solidarity. Some of the marketplaces have written focus on community nowadays, but they initially cashed in. So it's already a bit of a bad taste in some artists' mouth, because they've initially forked out, like I did with my daughter when we created an NFT. It costed us close to $100 just for one digital artwork to tokenize it. So basically to essentially upload it, and started selling it. Without having sold, we already had to pre-finance $100. So it was a bit complex also from a process perspective. It wasn't easy to understand the whole process. On those marketplaces nowadays, you find a lot of garbage. Now, always the art remains one's interpretation, as I wrote down here. But honestly, there is so much junk out there, which is just unnecessary data in many ways, and also lots of copies. On some of the marketplaces, we have seen digital artwork being stolen, copied, and also sold on the same platform, which was quite interesting. So also the transactions are quite slow with the common networks, because blockchains are essentially networks where your art will live. And also the security is not ideal if we're talking security from many angles. In that space, lots of money is being stolen. So they're focusing less on security, but more of selling things very quickly and focusing on profits till there is a breach at some point. But also scams and Ponzi schemes, where you as an artist have your digital wallet where you accumulate your money, and at some point they close down the marketplace and run away with the money. So that's quite, I wouldn't say common these days, but it has happened. Our value proposition, what makes us different, we're focusing on community and solidarity. So what does that mean? Well, essentially, the whole platform is going to be driven out of the community, which means solidarity projects can be proposed, can be voted for. The community can exchange ideas, thoughts on a Discord server. We have a community based on Discord, which will be up and running very soon. And also the solidarity aspect. So what does solidarity mean? Solidarity means it's all about giving back. So an artist can actually give back, give something back to the art world, or to a project, or to a cause he believes in, which means me as an artist on a platform, which we will see in a second in the workflow, I can actually upload my artwork, make it immutable, which means it's actually registered and connected to me, meaning it can of course be copied by someone, but I always have the advantage that if I'm the first person to upload it somewhere out there in the web, that there is always a timestamp which cannot be changed by anyone. there is an ID. Every file, every digital image has a unique identifier, a unique signature. So that's, let's just call it the DNA of a digital artwork. That cannot really be modified, which is not entirely true, because nowadays we can also modify DNA, which is not a good idea, but it's a different story. But artists can actually make an impact by selling their artwork, receiving royalties for every time piece of art is traded on the platform. So he will always pay something, which he defines at the beginning. And he can also propose projects and vote for projects he believes in to receive a portion of the sale of the artwork. We'll see that in a workflow, in an animated workflow in a second. So we have a platform which focuses on artists giving back, and also a platform which is driven by the community which the artist belongs to, which wants to make an impact from a solidarity perspective. All this can be done on a low-cost blockchain network. We're working with a blockchain network which is called Algorand, which focuses strongly on security. It's very important to focus on those aspects. Myself, I'm a chief cybersecurity strategist, so I make sure that organizations, very large companies in this world, have a certain strategy and that they bring security in that strategy of their business, so that they understand that they will not be broken into, in simple terms, or breached, so that they're doing everything possible that there's no break-in. Then we have also reduced transaction times. We have transparency, so everything which is happening on that blockchain network can be seen. People can understand it, and they see the end-to-end flow, and they know, okay, what has happened, and so on. So there's no hiding there. There is nothing behind the curtains. And also what we also have on our platform is easy navigation. Something needs to be useful. I always said that the platform needs to be accessible by someone who is 5, 10, 15. Obviously, there's still the parent who is there, the legal guardian who needs to approve, because there's still money traded there, moved around. But also someone who is older, like my mom, who's 87. So she understands the concept as well. So that's as simple as it should be. It shouldn't be too complex. So the user experience has to be here. So what does it look like from a overview perspective? We have an actual marketplace. So that's the actual Vigee marketplace. Me as an artist, I can, okay, I have a piece of art, or maybe I would like to start trading a digital Christmas card because I want to make an impact. Now, I created a Christmas card. I upload that one. When I upload it, I can specify the royalties, which means, for example, let's say 5%, which essentially means every time that piece of art, so you have it here, you have the artist with his artwork, he sets his royalty fees, then creates an NFT. It means that it is registered on the marketplace, but not just on that marketplace. It's registered on the entire blockchain behind that. So the entire ecosystem, it is transparent. You can see who it belongs to, and it can be traded, and you see every time the entire trading history. And for every time that piece of art is sold onwards, the artist will earn continuously money. We arrive at point 2. So when I set the royalty fee and I created an NFT, it doesn't mean I have traded it. I haven't sold it, or I haven't offered it. I can just register it and just say it's mine. But maybe someday I can choose one of my artworks and I want to sell it. So what I would do, I would select my piece of art, set the solidarity contribution. Maybe if my piece of art is sold, I want 5% to go into a charity. So that's an actual project. So I have to pick a project from a list which the community has proposed. So every 3 months, the community has possibility to vote for a project. Well, this is done also via the Discord platform, where you can actually vote for projects which have been proposed. So there has to be like a consensus and agreement and a voting mechanism. And essentially, when the piece of art is sold, that money will end up, that, let's say, those 5 or 10% what the artist tends to or wants to donate will end up in that pot and will go to a charity, is essentially donated. So the community, as an artist, when you join the network, you can join the community. It's essentially a Discord-based community on a Discord server where you have different channels with different art directions focusing on digital art. That also includes, for example, 2D art, 3D art, fractional artwork, photography, so digital photography, and so on. And this will be expanded in the future as well, connected to real-world paintings, which you could essentially also sell via the platform. There's no real limit. There's also music coming in the future and so on. So we have a collection of links, which is available here. You have the Discord community. We will personalize some of those links and also the YouTube link that it actually will go to the something more memorable. And we're also on Twitter, so we make announcements of activities, what is actually happening. On Instagram, we also announce, for example, new artists joining our platform. We also have a LinkedIn profile. We have a group on LinkedIn where you can update yourself as well. Besides Discord, there are also some announcements on that business network. And on YouTube, we're going to be starting to post how-tos. So, for example, well, how do I go about it? How do I create a wallet, a digital wallet? Because I need to be able to access my money somehow. How does that actually work? How can I sell a piece of art? So all these things will be on there. And on YouTube over time, we will also have volunteers from the community, hopefully, who will, for example, post a drawing technique, or if it's a photographer who is specialized in digital photography, he might want to post and share a tutorial with the community. So that obviously will make more sense to post it and share it on the YouTube channel. So looking at the interface, the way it looks like, just sharing it here, I always prefer to share things on a PowerPoint. We will also look at it afterwards on the platform directly. But that's essentially our platform. So you can actually go and search for collections. You can connect your wallet. So first of all, in the first step you have to do is to connect a wallet. The Algorand network has 3 wallets. The native wallet is the Para wallet. Not quite sure why they called it Para. Would have called it maybe something more algo related. But there's also the AlgoSigner wallet. So we support all 3 wallets. But just for this demo, you have the AlgoSigner wallet. So how do I connect? Well, what I do, I scan that QR code. And it will open my wallet and connect my wallet. So at that point, I will see the actual balance in my account, and I have maybe multiple wallets. It depends. I can have multiple wallets because they are different types of networks. There are test networks. I mean, for ours on our end, we're on the test network right now. That's what we're playing around with. So we have assets. So we have algo. So that's the digital money. So with that digital money, I can actually buy and sell artworks, because remember, there's always a transaction fee, which is minimal compared to anything out there. So that's what you have to do. Then you arrive at the dashboard. The dashboard will show you what is actually happening on the market. I can see there are auctions. I can see what is buy now. I have solidarity contributions just to play around with, set it to 50%. You have an organization which will receive some donated portion. You can see how much royalties the artist has actually set. And also the price of the asset and the last bid and when the auction will expire. You see the type An auction, which means it's essentially counting down and will be sold to the highest bidder. Or there's also buy now art. So, you know, for a fixed price. So then at that point, you would want to mint to create an NFT. So what you would do, you would upload your artwork on a button here. And you would set the royalty fees. You could set it, maybe that's a bit ambitious, 35%, but you could set it to 5%. Because remember, there are people who trade also digital artwork. They also want to earn money. If they have to give too much away as a royalty fee, they'll probably think, okay, my portion of profits will be not enough. It depends how famous the digital artist is. You can set the name. You can specify how many units do you want to create. Is it a unique asset, or do you want to create maybe 10 copies or 100 copies of that exact artwork? Then you can also specify the token unit and also select the collection. You can choose the name. You can basically, at that point here, you will also have a drop down to choose the collection where you want to assign that piece of art to. So when we're coming to the selling, you have to specify, okay, is it a fixed price sale? Is it a timed auction? In this case, it would be an auction. I can insert a floor price. So what is the minimum I need to have? How much do I need? Then you have an actual title. You have a description. You have the solidarity fee, which you can set. So how much will my chosen charity from a drop-down receive upon sale? Which would be here, for example, in drop-down, we have different types of charities in here. These are just examples. You can specify the expiration date and so on. So if anything is sold, the funds will go to one of the charities, and then you would see it somewhere here on the marketplace. So on the marketplace, you don't see any previews here, unfortunately, but you see the actual names, you see all the settings which have been set. If I would click on a detailed view, I could then also see the name of the asset or the auction. Then you have the solidarity name, because it could be, for example, let's say Laurent's auction. You don't have to name it after the actual asset, but you can also name the auction after the piece of art. You have the creator. The creator is your wallet ID. That's your unique identifier of the connected wallet. So that's unchangeable, immutable, unless someone has access to your wallet. It's always important to ensure that no one can access your wallet. Then you can also see to which auction it belongs, to which collection it belongs, and you can also see a price. And if you can buy the asset now, you could actually click on buy now. So what it looks like, because we had some technical connection challenges with the server, the so-called Murphy's Law effect. You can see it here. You have one of the wallets connected. So in here, in the actual marketplace, let me just move the zoom bar up here. You have down here the Instagram connection that would connect you and take you to Instagram and to Twitter and to our Discord community server. So then you have the marketplace, where I would see all the assets which have been listed, and I could actually click on a detailed view and would see the price. But I can also see down here, for example, the bids. These are just examples. You can see the history of bids, and you can actually also see details. Who is the actual owner? So that would be Jasmine in this case. So then I could actually go into the minting side of things, and I could say name for the assets to create, test 1, 2, 3 as an example. Then I can specify also the name for the token units. I could call it, for example, art token. Then I could specify how many units do I want to create. I can choose how many I want, and I can select the collection and specify how much money I would like to receive. But here, obviously, I would first upload, for example, one of the assets which I would like to create. So I have some examples here of Jimi Hendrix. I don't want to tokenize myself, it wouldn't make much sense, but I could upload the asset. And then it would be available on the marketplace and can actually trade it. Once, obviously, I'm going into sales modus. But during the minting, I'm uploading it, it's minted, it's there. I haven't sold anything. I would have to go into the selling mode and then list it. But like I said, we have some slight glitches. It usually happens when you have a demo with the server, but that's essentially our marketplace.